We just got a budget increase from nothing to $2, so I went ahead and bought myself a hot dog and pirated Premiere so this video wouldn't look like that. So,
Hi, I'm Gamer Jimmy. You may know me from Team Zephyr or the Beatles Rock Band Solo Career Project, and I'm here to show you how to make customs. Just a heads up, I will not be talking about how to make charts and DTA advanced stuff, because I don't even know how to do that. Oh, and one last thing. If you try to DM me about making customs, I will only be sending you this picture of a dolphin. Now, onto the video. To start, you're going to need a bunch of programs to create these customs. These include Mekalahoa, the Onyx program, C3 Con Tools, and most importantly, Reaper.
you can find these programs and more in a Google document I've compiled in the description below. Now that you've hopefully downloaded everything, you'll want to open a new Reaper project and go to File, Project Templates, and select the TBRB template, or just open the .rpp file. At this point, I'd recommend to save project as and put it into a folder for any files needed for your custom, specifically audio. And now, a tour of the template. Everything in the category EDAT works the exact same as it does for Rock Band 3, with the exception of the events track, which uses Rock Band 2 section events. The Milo section is where we differ from standard Rock Band 3 customs, where each Beatle has its own track where its animations can be controlled. The venue track is where all the fun dreamscape stuff happens. Finally, down here is where you'll put all your audio tracks. Great! Now that you've got your Reaper project all set up, it's time to show the 5 files required for a TBRB custom. The DTA basically tells the game information about the song, from the song's album name and track number to the song's ID number. Assuming you aren't doing all the complicated custom DTA stuff like outfits and textures, this is the easiest file to set up, and we'll cover it a bit later on. The next folder down contains the EDAT, which contains stuff like animations and stuff related to the charts. The MOG is also here, which is just the audio for the song. Finally, the Gen folder contains the encrypted album art and the Milo, which has its own layer stuff. But we'll get back to that later. For now, we're going to focus on creating a MOG for your custom. Now, if you want to take my recommendation on where to get good stems for your custom, my friend Oktoberfest has a tutorial on how to use Dmux. It's a good tool for separating songs, but any separator with a 4 or 5 stem model separator will work for your custom. The link is in the description below. Now, as you can see, I've gone ahead and separated my demonstration song, and you can see it here on the Reaper project. I've even gone ahead and added a count-in for the song. You can find these anywhere on YouTube, they're not very hard to come by. Once you've template mapped your custom and set the audio's downbeat to measure 3, you're ready to render all your stems. Now, you'll want to open the Onyx program and click on More Tools to bring up a new window. Navigate to the MOG/VGS tab and insert your audio files in this specific order. If the button on the bottom left says 10 channels, then click it and create the MOG. If it doesn't say 10 channels, double check you exported your stems correctly. If you've reached this point, congratulations! You've reached 1/5 of the way to making a TBRB custom, and we're only 4.5-ish minutes in. Surely everything else will be as easy as what we've done up until this point. Now we'll focus on the EDAT. The EDAT contains all of these tracks. I won't be going over the chart, beat, or events tracks, but I will say to go ahead and set this end event in the events track a little after the audio ends, so that the player won't be booted back to the score screen early. Now let's talk about what's more unique to TBRB, the animations. Now what's universal about each Beatle is the amount of states they can be in, either idle, idle real time, play, play energetic, play mellow, or unique hiss clip in the game. Each event does exactly what it says it does, but I'll note that the Beatles might be a bit delayed to get to their state, so you might have to put it before you want the specific Beatle to be in that state. Now as for actual animations, Ringo works about the same as the drummer in Rock Band 3 does. You can just chart drums normally, run it through Onyx's automatic drum animation generator, and cut and paste the generated events into Ringo's track. And for the love of God, please use the hi-hat open note right here. It's there for a reason. Thank you in advance. Now George, John, and Paul all work very differently from Rock Band 3. It's a complicated thing to explain, so I'll try my best. Frets 1 through 17 is exactly what you think it is. Note that putting spaces between 2 of these notes will cause the Beatle to slide to that fret. Everything from 60 to 82 are called chord tags. You can combine them like this. This will make the Beatle make an A7th chord shape. Not all of these tags are compatible, but there's enough here for you to be able to get the job done. The bar chords and muted and open chords between 84 and 93 are just normal chord shapes and don't require tags to have to assemble. Notes 94 through 107 are for holding down specific strings. In order to make a beat to hold down a single string, you have to combine a finger tag like index or middle with one of the 4 strings. It was designed for bass, so the B and high E strings aren't here, so you'll have to make do. The bend G and E string up tags are what you think they are, and can only be combined with these specific string tags. Finally, notes 108 through 114 control how the Beatles strums. And we don't talk about the Ace 6-bar chord around here. And that's animation in a nutshell. Specific parts might be funky to work with, like pinky finger and single string high aren't compatible, at least in my experience, and you'll have to just experiment to get your Beatle animated properly. Once you're done animating, charting, and all the other things needed for the EDAT, you can extract all your EDAT tracks and put the MIDI file in the folder from earlier. Our next file is the album art. Start by downloading the album cover online and putting it into any image manipulation software. I'm currently using Paint 3D. You'll want to resize this image to 256 by 256 like so. Save the changes and move it to that folder from earlier. We'll convert it into a PNG_PS3 or Xbox later down the line. And now, the Milo, where all the cool Dreamscape stuff happens. You'll want to start by opening that Macahola folder with the P9 song tool file in it and opening CMD using the Windows search box. Type in CD and then each folder in the address for the Macahola folder until you reach it, like so. Then type in p9songtool.exe new proj -- name, and then the shortened name of your song, and then the shortened name of your song again. This should have created a new folder in the Macahola folder with these files in it. The files generated do the following things in the Milo. The extra folder is where you would put custom textures if you were using them in your custom. Lip sync is where either your auto or manually generated lip sync will go. The song.json is where you'll set up certain things within the Dreamscape like instruments, venues, and more. Finally, the venue.mid will be where the Dreamscape and some of the Beatles animations go. For creating lip sync, the Onyx Eye program is the easiest way to do it. All you have to do is go back to the Onyx's Other Tools window, open the Lip Sync tab, and insert the MIDI we created earlier here, and click Turn Vocal Tracks into Lip Sync Tracks for TBRB. This should have created a new MIDI file and turned your old one into a backup file. Once we're done making the lip sync, you can restore that file. Now go back to your Reaper project, insert the updated MIDI into the tracks below the mog, delete all the non-lip sync tracks, and open each track to rename the track name to, in all caps, lipsync_, and then the Beatle you want to lip sync that particular track, as Onyx's program generates each track to be named lipsync 1 through 3, which is not compatible with TBRB. If you want 3 Beatles to lip sync but only have 2 harmony tracks, just duplicate the lip sync track and then rename it accordingly. Now, you can export the lip sync tracks and put them in the folder from earlier. We'll insert them to our Milo later. Now, let's set up the song.json. The venue details the location of the custom in-game. As we're creating a Dreamscape, we'll leave this as is, but you can also set it to Cavern, Sullivan, Shea, Budokan, or Rooftop if you're using one of those venues. Mini venues is where you set up the bigger scale locations, like Hillside, Performance Spaces, or Abbey Road variants. Note that you can only list up to 3 of these. Scenes are green screens, like Here Comes the Sun 01 or Projection, and you can have up to 8 of these. Next, each Dreamscape by default can have 2 outfits, assuming you are not using a dream_outfit text event. They will automatically switch between their studio and Dreamscape outfits whenever you use scene triggers between studio and non-studio locations. The next 4 items assigns the Beatles the instruments they can use in the custom. Each Beatle can have up to 3 and by default can only use certain instruments. For example, only Ringo can use drums and only George can use the sitar. Tempo controls animations for the Beatles and on live venues, the crowd. Harmonix officially recommends using slow for the average BPMs under 94, medium for 94 through 135, and fast for over 135. Song clips are essentially groups of animations that you can insert one of into your songs. These animations can be accessed by using his clips in each Beatles Milo track. Dreamscape font, and for that matter, Lyric Part, both control the Lyric Cut camera shots. Dreamscape font controls the font of the words, and Lyric Part controls which harmony track to pull the words from. The amps control the amps in the studio, the mixer controls the mixing station you can see with no band, and the control room direct cut, and the Dreamscape camera changes how some of the default camera shots look. That covers all the basic information about the song JSON. However, there is one more thing. The song JSON actually controls the placement of the words from lyric cuts. The basic rundown is each lyric direct cut requires position, rotation, and scale to be applied to each individual word. If you want a better idea of how it works in game, I'll be showing later on in the video how you can extract the game's files to look into how Harmonix did it originally. So stay tuned. And now it's time to talk about what you're probably here for, the venue.mid, the very core of Beatles Dreamscapes. As shown before, the venue mid contains the venue track and the 4 Beatles animation tracks. The Beatles animation tracks mostly handle those play, idle, and hiss clip events that I covered earlier in the video. However, there are a few more things that you can put in these tracks. This includes lean in and lean out, step in and step out, and hide on and hide off. Feel free to experiment with these when making your custom. This is also where you control which instrument the particular Beatle is using. Based on the order of which you put the instruments in the song.json, instrument 0 through 2 will swap the instrument. There's also an inst_microphone, which leaves the Beatle instrumentless. Now, the venue track. The venue track hosts 6 core events. The main ones are camera shots, post-proc effects, configs, and scene triggers, and the 2 additional ones are dream_outfit and lyric animations. The later 2 control the outfit set the Beatles are wearing and animations for the lyric direct cuts respectively. However, as the game controls the outfit sets automatically and not every custom uses these lyric cuts, it's not required that you use them for every custom. The required text events go as follows. The camera shot event tells the game where to position the camera. There's a list on screen of all the default camera shots that will work on every venue. However, there are also direct cuts, which are specialized camera shots and can only be used on certain venues and sometimes certain configs. Next up are post-proc effects. These control how the camera shots look in a variety of ways, like changing the color saturation, making weird background thingies, and more. You can also make 2 post-procs blend by putting a gap between 2 different post-proc events. Using these in creative ways can make a custom look the best it can be, so be sure to experiment with blending different post-procs or trying them with specific venues. I promise you, there's at least one blend that hasn't been tried before. If you want a full list of the post-procs, there are 2 videos on Tofi's channel that document and showcase all the post-procs on both a green screen and in studio. Next up are scene triggers. This is what tells the game what location should actively be shown. You can insert any of the mini venues or scenes that you put in the song JSON like shown. The mini venues and scenes also all have variations that can be applied using scene triggers. A full list of all of these variations is included in the full documentation for TBRB that can be found in the description below. Finally, the configs. Configs change how the Beatles are situated in the dreamscape. It's most notable in mini venues, specifically in the studio, but it does change a lot of camera shots in green screens. Some configs don't work consistently on all mini venues, like the Weeps Hill being unstable with KP9 keyboard John, or most of the keyboard configs not working on most performance-based mini venues. However, you can set configs at any time in Dreamscapes, so feel free to experiment with this to get the desired outcome you want. And that about wraps up the basics of the venue.mid. I'll be going over some more specific stuff later on, but with this information, you should be able to create your own vision for Dreamscapes. Now, we need to compile these files into Milo and finally create a build for your custom. Before we compile the Milo, we need to create 4 files that Onyx can override your lip sync onto. You can do this by importing lip sync from another song, or just creating a text file and renaming them for the Beatle you want it for. Now, we can compile the Milo. First, you'll have to export these 5 tracks to the project file you made with P9 Song Tools, and rename the MIDI file to venue. Then, open CMD again, making sure you're still on the directory from before, and type in p9songtool.exe, then project the Milo, then the shortened name of your custom, and then the shortened name of your custom followed by .milo_, and the console you want to encrypt the Milo for. If you're only testing it, you only have to compile the Milo for the console you test on. You should now have your Milo built and ready to put into your game, but there's still one last file we have to set up before you can, the DTA. The DTA is fairly simple when you're not vomiting text into the context line, but there's still a fair amount of setup to get your DTA functional. First, make sure you have the template DTA file downloaded from the document and open it in any text editor program. I use Notepad++, but normal Notepad will work just fine. Now, we'll edit the DTA to suit your individual custom. If I fail to mention any specific line, it means you probably should not edit it. For starters, change these 3 shortened name texts you see with the shortened name of your custom. Change the song name text to the actual name of your song. The song ID is the unique number for your custom. It's important that you choose an ID that will not be used by other TBRB creators or the game itself. CDOC and SAP use specific prefixes followed by a number specifying if it's an updated song ID, and then 3 digits for specifying what song it is. There's not much to change in the song category besides the directory and vocal parts, which specifies how many harmonies there are, but you can look into the game files and possibly find more stuff to put here. The anim tempo should be set according to what tempo you used in the song JSON. Preview is what determines what part of the song is shown on the song select screen. You can usually leave this unchanged, but if it doesn't fit your custom, the times are based on milliseconds, and you can use your Reaper project to find the timestamp you want. Rank is the difficulty of the instruments in the custom. The cutouts are on screen, but if you want specific rankings, look at the DTAs for both in-game and for DLC songs. Venue should be set to the same thing as it was in the song JSON. Date released and record are for the song select screen and loading screen respectively. Remember, if date release is different for two different songs in one album, they will be separate. Album name and album track number are for the song select screen, with the latter determining its order when sorting by album. If your custom is a single, then you can delete these lines. Singer and song type determine certain sound effects used in game. The options are listed in the template, and you can choose which suits your custom yourself. The new AR console true line should only be used when you're using EMI TG mixer in the song JSON, as stated earlier and on the template. Finally, custom loading sounds can be implemented using these lines. I'll show how to create those later on in the video. And that about covers the essentials of the DTA. If there's anything I might have missed, you might be able to find it in other customs or in an on-disk songs DTA. And if you really want to, look through the more recent CDOC customs or any solo career custom to find how to implement custom textures. Once you finish this, save your DTA to the folder from earlier and name it the shortened name of your custom. After this, duplicate the file and call that one songs DTA for when we create the Xbox build. We're just about ready to put your customs on console. First, create new folders and name them according to each console. Let's make the Xbox build first. Simply copy these 5 files into the folder and then open C3 Consoles. We'll need to convert the album art to an Xbox PNG, so click on Advanced Art Converter, change Input Folder, and select the directory of your Xbox folder. It should say Found One File. Click Convert All Input Files to PNG Xbox and voila! Now that we have all our files, you'll want to reopen C3 Consoles and click on Con Creator. Change the game ID to the Beatles Rock Band and click this icon to change it to this picture. You can fill out these however you wish. Next, right-click on Songs, click Add Folder and type the shortened name of your custom. Right-click that new folder and enter in Gen. It should look like this. You can select which folder is open by clicking it. Now, you can drag your files into their appropriate folder on the right side. They should be situated as they are on screen now. Once you've done this, change the format to live and click Create Package. It will ask you to save it to a folder, so just put it in that folder from earlier. You should then get this screen. If all 4 of the buttons look like this, the con file should be working. If any of them look faded out like this, it's possible there was a mistake in exporting or creating those specific files, and you should double check the files to debug. Now that your Xbox file is ready, make sure to test that it works on a modified Xbox before you distribute a broken custom. Now for the PS3 build. Copy all of these files into the PS3 folder. Before you create our build, you need to encrypt these 3 files. The mod can be encrypted in the PS3 converter by clicking Encryption Options, Encrypt Replacement Mod, and then selecting the mod in the PS3 folder. The album art is the same as Xbox, only this time you need to select the PS3 tab. The MIDI file must be converted into an EDAT. You can do this in the Rebuilder program that you can download in the description. Put your MIDI file in the EDAT folder that Rebuilder makes, open the executable, type in 2 on the first screen and then 1 on the second screen. It will request 2 codes for encrypting, which you can find in the Google document in the description below. This process should have sent the encrypted EDAT to the EDAT folder. Move it to the PS3 folder and now you've got all your files ready. To format the files, create 2 folders, one with the shortened name of your custom and one called Gen inside of the other folder. Rearrange the files like so and zip the PS3 folder with WinRAR or some other compression tool. Again, remember to test on a PS3 console before distributing. If you've made it to this point of the video, congratulations! Your custom is ready to be shown to the world. There's a few different methods you can go about doing that, like posting it on C3, Discord servers, like the Community Creations tab on Solo Career, or with your friends. And with that, you have all the basic information needed to create Beatles Rock Band customs. There's a ton of advanced stuff I haven't covered in this video, like extracting the game files, lipsync, and DTA code, but seeing as this video is over 20 minutes long at this point, I will probably save that stuff for a part 2 if I get around to doing that. Anyways, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and join the Solo Career project because it's based, and bye.